Chainpoint 19, which is held today in Yerevan, Armenia. I am Maria, and my guest today is Henri Arslanian, who is the head of FinTech Association of Hong Kong. You're also a professor, a banker, a lawyer. You're also the head of crypto in PwC Global Crypto Leader. How many titles do you have?
But most important, I'm passionate about the future of finance and crypto, so that's the most important one.
That's true, and today you were talking about the main crypto trends during the conference, but may you outline, because somebody who hasn't seen your presentation, the main crypto trends in 2019?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of exciting trends going on in the broader crypto space, right? But I would say the one trend that I'm really focusing on now is the regulatory clarity.
I thought that you would say regulations.
No, of course, the regulatory clarity is super interesting because, you know, today, only 5% of regulators today do not have somebody working on crypto, which I think is super exciting from that perspective. And also, over the last couple of months, we've seen a number of countries come up with regulatory clarity. Not only specific smaller countries that made it a focus, like the Maltas and Gibraltars, but really when you look at some more established countries like France and the UK, for example, that have come up with regulation in the space. I think this is super important, not only for the crypto ecosystem, but when we look at the future of finance more holistically.
So you are talking about the regulations. May you say you're firstly are a lawyer?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer by background.
That's why I'm in field. The thing is, when we are talking about regulations, and you mentioned that now regulators are observing almost every Bitcoin transactions. And the question which interested me, and I will ask you again, what to do if, for example, a lot of now Bitcoin developers are trying to dedicate their time to work more on Wasabi wallet, Green wallet, which make the transactions more private, because all the time I've heard it, like for many years, like developers of other private coins, they address Bitcoin that it's not so private, it should be at the core level. Now developers are trying to do their best to make Bitcoin transactions private. Yeah. So from the point of view of regulations and regulators, will they try to track, to see these transactions which are not so visible and understandable as kind of black one?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? I think there's a couple of ways looking at this situation, right? I think you're right. Regulators are very knowledgeable when it comes to crypto, and not only on the information, but also on the different tools that are available now from traceability and others. Personally, I'm not a big fan of mixers or any kind of tool that provides that tries to hide the transaction, if you want. The reason being is actually because I believe at the stage that we are right now in the development of the crypto markets, yes, we went from 0 to 1 for the last couple of years. For us to go with the 1 to 10, we need more regulations. We need to ensure that dirty money does not enter the system, and we need to have for that proper KYC and AML. I really believe one of the biggest threats that we have right now to the crypto ecosystem is there's a big scandal that we find out, one of the big exchanges, whether it's in Ukraine or anywhere else, is either laundering money or is, terrorist groups are using it. And that I think will be a very big detriment to the evolution of crypto markets. That being said, I think as we move forward, I can see why there's a need for certain privacy coins. However, I think I'm not sure that if we push privacy coins today, we're going to be able, it may be actually more a detriment to the evolution of crypto ecosystems than actually a positive.
Okay, you live in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, a lot of developers moved there because there are less of regulations.
I'm not sure there's less regulation. I mean, for full disclosure, I sit on the FinTech Advisory Board of the Hong Kong regulator, and I would actually say the opposite. The regulations in Hong Kong on crypto are actually pretty good. I'll give you one example. Since last November, any licensed fund manager, there's about 2,500, can have up to 10% of their portfolio in crypto with no additional licensing conditions. So again, a great way of putting regulations. Last November, we had regulations in Hong Kong on crypto exchanges, and literally last week, the Hong Kong regulators issued new regulations on what do crypto fund managers have to do if they're managing crypto. So I would actually argue that there are regulations. Then I have to say, to the full credit to the Hong Kong regulators, when I look at the global level, I would probably say the Hong Kong regulators are definitely in the top 3 when it comes to their knowledge and understanding of crypto regulations and crypto markets.
You're also a professor at Hong Kong University, and you're teaching FinTech course. Tell more about it. This is for the first time ever. there?
Yeah, it was. My course was. It's definitely the first fintech university course in Asia. Some in the media say it's the first in the world, but I have no way of proving that, unfortunately. One thing I think the reason I started teaching, I've been teaching in universities for many years, and the academia is really my passion.
Jurisdiction.
Fintech, academia and teaching actually. But the reason I've been starting teaching fintech was I find that it's completely unacceptable. And in 2019, we let students graduate out of universities, in programs in business or in finance, with no courses on blockchain or fintech, whereas they are the generation that will be impacted the most about these changes. And I really find that's absolutely unacceptable. And I made kind of my personal contribution to teach it in classes. But actually 2 years ago, we launched the first MOOC, edX course, which is available for free. Anybody in the world can take courses on fintech. And now actually we just launched the one on blockchain. I'm very proud to say our edX course.
How is it called?
It's, I think, Introduction to FinTech, and that's an EDX. It's available for anybody in Ukraine who wants to watch it. We've had more than 40,000 registrations from about 200 different territories around the world. And my goal with that course is that where I travel, I mean, I spend 90% of my time traveling, whether in New York, in London, or San Francisco, and Hong Kong. There's a lot of crypto events. There's almost an event on Bitcoin every night. But you know, if you're at parts of Africa, you're parts of really Asia, you're parts of even Eastern Europe, where probably there's not that many exposure. I find it's unacceptable that somebody that wants to learn about crypto does not have an opportunity. And I made a commitment of mine. Actually, that's the reason I just wrote my second book, which is the Future of Finance. And we're actually I'm presenting it tonight here in Armenia. And really, the reason I made this book, it's called The Future of Finance. It's about 300 pages that covers fintech, crypto, and AI, and how their combination will transform finance. And I believe that's really important because I do not, if somebody wants to learn about it, and from trusted sources, I hope what I'm saying is actually accurate, they have a chance to do so in the comfort of their house. So hopefully that's going to help people around the world, but also in Ukraine.
Okay, of course, definitely. Henry, you just mentioned about the book you will present, and the thing is, after Armenia, where will you present it?
Oh, it's just doing it.
You're a TEDx speaker, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll talk about it there or somewhere else.
Yeah, my TEDx talk was interesting. Was my about 3 years ago, actually, almost this month, my first TEDx talk, and it's become actually now, from what I understand, the most watched fintech video on YouTube, which is quite a humbling experience. But I think what's even more important is the book tours. I'm not a big fan of doing book launches and signing copies. Actually, I don't even bring signed copies here. I may donate it in different ways, but.
So you won't sign any today?
No, unfortunately, I don't have them with me either as well. But I think what's really important is I want people to be aware of it. I think the next time I'll be presenting, it's around every time I go to this conference, I offer some. What it's really important for me, as I found with the book, is that if I meet somebody, one of the reasons around the book as well is there's a lot of executives today, government officials, bank CEOs, other people in important roles that want to learn more about this topic. But you know, I always say it's very lonely at the top. When you're an executive, there's not many people you can ask about these topics. And what's happening today is I think at least these guys have a chance to take the book, read it, and learn about the topic, and come into our exciting world of crypto assets and the future of finance.
Thank you for this exciting
Thanks for having me.
Talk. We had Henri Arslanian, the head of FinTech Association of Hong Kong, banker, lawyer, head of crypto at PwC, and global crypto leader. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.
Thanks for all of you in Ukraine as well. Very big fan of Ukraine. Thank you.
That's great.